shot, you're making money, dude. But if you walk out of there where they're like, yeah, he flunked that one, guess what? That gets him on to 31 other teams. And guess what? When you go to your next interview, they're going to expose you again and again and again and again. And it's just a snowball effect. So, you know, as crazy as it sounds, there's big image control in Indy, where it's like, boss man, you got interviews tomorrow. Cut that.
Good morning or afternoon. I'm your host, Preston Jackson. Now, currently, recently rebranded the podcast. We were at our BCP podcast, wanted to do something differently that was more on brand with what we would like to do with the podcast. So now, official title of the show is The Next Conversation. We'll always be able to multifaceted this and be able to be able to share this on different platforms. However, we're going to rock with The Next Conversation. And for our next conversation today, I have a local kid to the Tampa Bay area, the greater Tampa Bay area, has been working in the NFL agency space for a while now. He is a Wikiwachi graduate, currently NFL agent NFL agent for first round management, also the director of NIL at first round management, has generated over $50 million in NIL negotiated money and contracts, represents over 50 players and 10 NFL clients currently. Mr. Shawn O'Gorman. Everybody should know the name, right, Shawn?
Yeah, something like that. You know, I'm not gonna beat my own chest, but I did win a few BCP MVPs.
Absolutely. Shawn was a consistent camper when we used to do the BCP camps. He was always out there. A fantastic running back at Wikiwachi.
I always wanted it.
Oh yeah, hey, but that made you good though. That made you great though, right?
For
and
sure.
You know, coming from Hernando County, where folks don't really know that school, when you come out to a BCP camp, you're looking for that exposure.
Oh yeah, I wanted to be with the 5 stars. So
absolutely, and we had them all.
So yeah, that's for sure.
Down in Miami now.
So yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. Obviously,
yeah, absolutely.
I guess I'm the first guest to the rebrand, so
absolutely
glad that's the case. And yeah, man. I mean, thank you for having me on.
Miami's a little different than Hernando County. How long have you been in Dade now?
Yes, you say I graduated in 16. It's 2025. That'd make it almost 10 years.
Wow.
I'm a Dade County resident now.
Are you North Miami or are you South Miami? Where are you at?
I've lived all over this dang city.
Okay.
I lived obviously by FIU.
Okay.
And I've lived in Coral Gables. I lived in Coconut Grove. I've lived downtown. I lived in Brickell. I lived in Kendall. I kind of just float around. I don't really have home base.
Okay.
You know, I've kind of just tried to see the whole city. And then in my head, at least before I buy, you know, plan is to obviously buy and settle down here. But my thing is I don't want to buy in a part of the city that I don't really know, you know. So I think by now I've kind of got a grasp on the city 10 years later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I've been all around 10 years. It's been the best move of my life. You know, Miami is really the city of opportunity. I mean, it's what it is. You know, everyone it's fast. It's, you know, hustle and bustle. But at the same time in my industry, you got to be in the mix a little bit.
Right.
So, it gives a good opportunity to, you know, be around the sights and the scenes. But like I said, also, you know, at the end of the day, every single player wants to be in Miami. So it makes my life easy. They come right to my backyard.
Well, speaking of the industry, how did you get into the sports management / agency industry? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so obviously my playing career was completely derailed by injuries. And ACL, PCL, meniscus, complete reconstruction. So
wow.
After that, I was probably like, yeah, I'm good on the whole football playing thing. Just like the world would tell you to do. You go take your degree and you're working some corporate job. So I worked in corporate AT&T, worked my way up the ladder there, just like really quick. I liked it, didn't love it. You know, it's competitive, which, you know, as an athlete, you always want. It's, you know, it was sales driven. So once again, it's performance based. Just didn't love it, you know.
Okay.
And I kept getting promoted. And the more that it got to that point, I'm like, I just don't know if I want to do this for the next 30 years of my life. So saved up some money, I don't know if I got lucky or I like to tell people I was brilliant, but I think I really got lucky.
All right.
Right around COVID, I saved up some money and I figured, you know what? I want to be my own boss. It's like, every
Yep.
young 20-year-old, right?
Yep. Yep.
I think, what is the sexiest business I can do in Miami? What is something cool? Of course, I do jet skis, yachts, and boats. And we did great. Like, we, full transparency, absolutely crushed. Like, we
Okay.
but the good thing was, why I say I got lucky is because it was during COVID. I got in right before COVID, got everything settled, and bam, COVID hit. So, can't go outside. If you go outside, it's got to be an outdoor activity.
Right.
Well, hey, Preston, riding jet skis and getting on yachts are outdoor activities, champ. So
Yep.
people are just sitting in their house, losing their minds. And it made it really easy for me to, I don't want to say like capitalize. That sounds bad, but I guess capitalize on it, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's what happened. Yeah.
we were sold out on a Tuesday. It was a normal Tuesday, and we were sold out 10 hours straight, and our whole
Wow.
fleet was sold out. So I got once again, I built that thing up to, it's like just me and one other guy, and we built it up pretty strong.
Okay.
Good amount of employees, everything was going smooth. And then I had someone come and offer a nice buyout. And once again, I kind of had that realization of like, I don't really know if this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm not that passionate about it, to be honest. Like, I
Right.
love business. I like conversations with people, but like, probably not what I want to do. I mean, if I could have been like a hands-off owner and had it ran, that's a different, I think about that all the time. Like, maybe I should have kept it, but
Right.
so anyways, I sold. Unfortunately, the business plummeted in like 8 months, which sucks. But the end of the day, I got it at the right time, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
And I really thought about it. I was like, I guess I got to start from square one. So I really thought about like, what am I missing? And as cliche as any football player will say, I miss football, man. Like,
Yeah.
it just like watching the games, and it didn't feel the same. Like, it was weird. I go on Sunday and not even watch NFL football because I wasn't into it.
Right.
Like, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was because of my injury and my, you gotta, how this thing goes, bro. You work 20 plus years to look. Hands down, I knew I was never playing the NFL. Right? Like, if I could squeeze 2 degrees out of my playing ability, that's all I wanted to do.
Right.
I was not going to be the next Wes Welker. I knew that, right?
Right.
But I kind of left a sour taste in my mouth how my career ended. It just sucked. You really left it with a career-ending injury. Like, dude, I can't even squat anymore. I'm an upper body warrior at the gym now, which isn't a bad thing, right? But long story short, I thought I said I like business. I love negotiating. I love selling. Not that my job is to sell, but I love selling. I love interpersonal relationships, and Lord knows, man, it's one thing in the world I love. It's a football, man. It's
Right.
it's this thing, man.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yep.
So, I really sat down and I'm like, you know what? I don't know anything about being a sports agent. I thought I wanted to do marketing, which is obviously part of our job.
Yep.
I figured it was marketing. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll go this route, maybe see how to be an agent. I don't know. I emailed probably 400 agencies.
Right.
No one got back to me. Not a single one. And then one day I got an email back, and it was from First Round Management. And ironically, I was ready to Preston, I was ready to pack up. If you told me an agency in Alaska was going to give me an opportunity, I was going to go. All right.
Right.
I said, I'm the person I am. I'm all in or I'm all out. Like, I tell people, I tell players that, families, I'm all in or I'm all out. Like, I can't half step in this business. So, ironically, they were 15 minutes from my house. So it worked great. And I come in fresh off of obviously owning a company, selling it. And, I sit down and my boss now, the owner, Malki Kawa, I don't think he's a boss to me. He's more of like a friend, a mentor now, but I mean, really, he's like a business partner now, to be honest. But, um, I remember asking him, like, all right, cool. So what do I get paid? He's like, paid? You're not getting paid. Huh? Not getting paid? You're not paying me for my time. No, we don't do that. That's not how it goes in sports. You got to earn your keep. You got to earn it. If you show you belong, I'll pay you. So, I remember feeling like that was a massive like pill to swallow. Because
Right.
for me, I was like, I used to run the show in my own business. Are you gonna tell me you're
Right.
gonna pay me?
Right.
And then I had to realize, like, yeah, people don't just get paid in this business for no reason. So I took it once again as a challenge. I was like, you know what? Cool. I could do this. I got it.
Okay.
And I literally was an unpaid intern. Um, I worked the front desk. I
Okay.
made, Preston, if you walked in the office, I would have said, hey, Mr. Jackson, welcome to First Time Management. Can I get you a coffee? Who are you here to see?
Okay.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
here to see so-and-so. Okay, cool. Give me 2 seconds. I'll make your coffee and I'll go tell them you're here. That was my job, right? And, it's funny. I asked Malky one day, I was like, why do you have people do that? Even if he knows you're qualified, he makes you sit at the front desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why do you make people do that? Like, I don't understand. He's like, because you got to learn how to service people. This business
Right.
is all service.
Yep.
You as an agent, your job is to service clients.
Yep.
And if you're too prideful to get someone a coffee or walk them to a meeting, you're not going to last, bro.
Yep.
I was like, wow, that's, as simple as it sounds, that was 6 years ago. And that's even after owning my own business. I was like, wow, that's a seed. Like
Yep.
that's good stuff. So yeah, that's really how I got started, man. Unpaid intern, and then obviously the rest is history, bro. Worked my way up. I knew that I had some money saved up. So for me, I was like, look, I'm gonna give it 6 months. I'm gonna give it everything I got. If I can't do this, then it's not for me, and I'll go back to corporate world. Like, so what? I got a great resume there. I'll be fine.
Yep.
So he said, like, what you eat is what you kill. So my thing was, well, I gotta close some damn deals. And
Yep.
sure enough, I closed a bunch of deals. And I don't want to say it was like instant success because that's not true. But within a few weeks, I started to realize this isn't that hard.
Gotcha.
I have a sales background. The marketing side of it was not hard, right? And I knew
Right.
nothing about the representation side. I got into that after, but my point is, like I said, the marketing side it's sales. Marketing is sales.
Right.
You have
Right.
a product. I will never call players products, but my point is, like, I have the player, you
Mm-hmm.
have the product. You want my player to endorse your product. It's just sales at that point. So
Yep.
B2B. That's all it is. So, yeah, man, that's how I got started, bro.
All right. So with NIL is obviously the wave right now. Name, image, and likeness. The informalities, if you will, of it, the unstructured, if you will, of it, just kind of not as much the wild, wild west as it was when it first jumped off, but it's not enough boundary, and let's just say it's still pretty wide open. With leveraging NIL opportunities, with collegiate players,
Hmm?
how do you align those with NFL branding opportunities? If you got a college kid who's pretty sound and savvy and you guys are representing him as his college career and NIL, how do you merge those into possible NFL opportunities after he's drafted?
Yeah, I'll give you an example.
All right.
This is a great example, right? So I represent a corner for the Patriots. His name is Alex Austin.
Okay.
When he was in college, now this was before collectives and rev share and all that other stuff, right? This was
Yeah.
like NIL jumped off the page. It was just marketing. It was straight.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm whatever this company is. I want to pay Preston Jackson $5,000 for it. Okay, that was what it was, right?
Okay.
Nowadays, we all know what it is, right? Like you said, it is the Wild Wild West. So, anyways, I always ask guys, like, what are you passionate about? And, every kid's, oh, family, friends. Okay, what are you really passionate about? Like, tell me, like, because, marketing is a story. Like I said, it's sales.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Preston, if you told me you ate Wheaties every day until you got to Notre Dame and you're in the first round, bro, that's, there's a story there. There's some sort of
Right.
intrinsic tie that I can sell to Wheaties, right?
Right.
I'm not
Right.
just saying, like, I really like Wheaties. Well,
Right.
we all, it's a good cereal, right? Um, anyway, so Alex tells me, my parents, they're in the community. I've always been in the community. I'm really involved in the community, right? So I was always thinking in the aspect of like, all right, what deals can I do to help him look better as an NFL prospect? So I do a little research and I realized no player has a scholarship. Like it wasn't done yet. And to
Okay.
me, I was like, there's got to be one out there. Like this seems so ABC. Like this should be done. No one had it. No one had a scholarship in their own name. No one had the Preston Jackson scholarship, the
Right.
Shawn O'Gorman scholarship. No one had the Alex Austin Overcoming Adversity scholarship. So what do? We created the first ever scholarship in a player's name, in which obviously the funds go to high school and even undergrad, going to post grad or post grad students. It doesn't matter, right?
Right.
And
Right.
obviously the requirement is a 500-word essay, something along the lines of about how you've overcame adversity. Um, but when I tell you this thing took off, bro, this thing took off. Like we
Took
had
off.
companies calling me to sponsor him to sponsor. We want to give money to the scholarship. We want to sponsor him and the scholarship. And this automatically made him more marketable, right? Number one,
Right.
he looks like a fantastic, at the time, I don't want to say he's a kid. You're not a kid anymore, but at the time, he looked like a fantastic kid, which as a man, he's a phenomenal young man, right? He's
Right.
everything that he is. It's not like some marketing ploy.
All right.
This is about as generic or genuine as possible, right? So, long story short, we launched this, and it crushes, man. There was like, dude, Preston, I read like 50,000 essays.
Wow.
And I think at the first time we had like 3 winners. So like it was just, and you got to think, overcoming adversity, right? For
Yeah.
Preston, some of these essays were like, dude, I'm sitting here like,
Yeah. Right.
who's cutting the
Right.
onion? Oh, like,
Yep.
damn, dude. So, long story short, we kind of continued to build there, right? And that's the long story. But I'll tell you the short term is, long story short, this is when the Pac-12 was running to Oregon State, all Pac-12 player, phenomenal football player, draft prospect, combine guy, came out as a true junior. And I would be lying to you if I said 32 teams didn't ask me and say, hey, tell me about the Alex Austin Overcoming Adversity Scholarship, or tell me about a scholarship. They were all interested, right?
Oh.
So my thing is, did it make them $1? I don't know. But my point is, that's a character report, right? And in the world of football today, dude, character is number one. Like, I will be honest, I was just talking with a scout the other day from a team, and I was like, I got to know, in your guys' building, there has to be an all-time high emphasis on character, because I've seen some non-character football players slide in this draft who would have been 2nd or 3rd round picks 5 years ago. And they said, dude, character is everything right now. We'll take the high character kid who can't play as well. I said, yeah, dude. I mean, that is not how it used to. I mean, Preston, you used to have guys that have a rap sheet in jail.
Oh yeah.
First, second round. Nowadays, these kids aren't even touched. And I don't even gotta say names. There's a few names on the street right now that could have been in the first round this year. So, I guess, like I said, I don't want to say it's ahead of the curve, but once again, I thought, you know what, this kid's passionate about this. This can help him. And then this is still something that we do today. We still have a scholarship every year. We just awarded, I want to say 5 students last year, coming up again this year, planning a golf tournament. This thing forever evolves, but as something, I don't want to say it's small. I didn't expect it to be on CBS Sports. Didn't expect it to be on Bleacher Report. I didn't expect it to be him have a feature on it in the middle of his bowl game when he played the Gators. I didn't expect that, but we'll take it. You
Well,
know,
dang sure take it. Hell
we'll
yeah.
take it, bro. I mean, because in the world of, this is Monster Energy, they're gonna pay me 100 G's, dude. Preston, don't get me wrong, that's phenomenal, and I'm glad those guys get paid. But that's something that sits with me because it's bigger than football. You're really
Correct.
changing people's lives, man. Like it's
Correct.
and trust me when I tell you, bro, those essays, dude, it makes you really realize that whatever, excuse my language, I'm not even say it, whatever stuff I'm going through in my
Yeah.
life, it ain't that bad, bro.
Right.
Like,
It could be a lot worse.
boss man, it is not. But the things I'm complaining about are other people's dreams. Like, it's not that bad, bro.
So with character being such a high emphasis, right?
Mhm.
I'm just gonna take you to a Shador Sanders debacle, if you will.
Right.
And you obviously being in the space of NFL draft prep, NFL talking to NFL execs, you're in that space. For a kid who comes across to us who are not in that space, who has the competitive drive that you want, has not been in trouble, seems like a high character kid. Why were all these kind of little dribblings coming out about character maybe being a flaw for his? Maybe he was an entitled kid. Maybe he was too cocky. What was coming out? Why did it seem like his character was now a detriment to him?
So I don't want to talk about Sugar because he's not my client, but I will give you, let's say, example A, okay? Because
Yep. Let's do that.
great kid,
Yep.
a football player, and I obviously wish the best for him. If he got dealt a bad hand of business, it's just how the business goes, right? And
Yeah.
a lesson for it, right? And I wish the
Okay.
kid, I really do. Let's say example A, right? The truth of the matter is the 32 teams are like this, that's not on Twitter. That's not on ESPN. That's not on, like, I know things. I mean, I'll be honest. I know things about some people's favorite players today that they will never know. Why?
Yeah.
Because they hear it from the inside.
Right.
And the inside doesn't get out, because let's be honest, right? Not going to say his name. If player A goes in the second round,
Yeah.
no one knows he has character issues, but maybe he still has the character issues, right?
Right.
Goes in the second, third round, no one knows because no one talks about it.
Right.
They see this projected player A, who's supposed to be a first round, top 100 pick, let's call it, right? Sliding down the board. So now everyone's throwing darts and saying, well, something's got to happen. Oh my God, it must be his character. It must be, he doesn't tie his left shoe. It must be his pinky toe hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
Yep.
There's a lot of things, and that's the thing. On the agent side, is the only person that would know would be player A's agent and team and the player and probably other teams, because
Okay.
that the word spreads quick, and the combine is big. I tell players, I'm like, you guys think you're here to run and jump and skip, fellas? You're not here. I mean, you're here for that because that makes the NFL Network money. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You guys all have pro days, and the scouts are still going to come to your pro day.
Right.
So the fact that you're at the combine, don't get me wrong, if you're going to perform at a high level. Don't piss down your leg. But at the same time, the real reason you're there is, number one, because the medicals. That's why a lot of kids, they leave out of India first-round pick, and then they go in the fifth because there's something that came up, right? People don't even understand. Why is the combine in Indy? Indy has 6 hospitals. That's why it's in Indy. It's not because Lucas Oil Stadium's indoors. I hate to tell you. Because the hospitals, okay? Because it's really a medical evaluation is the combine, right?
Okay.
Players don't even know that, right?
Right.
So, my thing is, when they get into these interviews are money, man. Like, I'll be honest, there was probably 5 kids that just didn't work out for us in the draft this year, right? We just, either way, they chose a different route, or maybe we were just like, you know what, we're good on this one, right? High character kids, really high character kids. and they all got drafted, like high, like 3rd, 4th, 5th round.
Okay.
You look back and you're like, these are the same guys that I got undrafted grades on.
All right.
I'm a little confused, right? So it goes both ways, is what I'm trying to say.
I hear you.
Those interviews are important because if you can get a team to walk out of there and be like, hey man, I let that Preston Jackson guy date my daughter. Like, that kid's awesome. You're making money, dude. But if you walk out of there where they're like, yeah, he flunked that one. Guess what? That gets around to 31 other teams. And guess what? When you go to your next interview, they're going to expose you again and again and again and again. And it's just a snowball effect. So, as crazy as it sounds, there's been damage control in Indy where it's like, boss man, you got interviews tomorrow. Cut that.
Right.
Stop doing that. Right? If you're doing this, don't do it anymore. But obviously most of these guys, I'll say on our end, we don't have many guys that are never prepared. Like, we prepare our guys really well, but you hear some horror stories, man. Like, I've heard a story.
Okay.
Team told me, hey, I'm not gonna, obviously, of course, I'm not gonna say player, but
yeah.
Hey, we interviewed player X and we asked him who's the hardest. Player X plays defensive tackle. Okay. We interviewed player X and we asked him who's the best player he's played against or the hardest player he's played against. And player X answered another defensive lineman.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Not a guard, not a center.
Right.
Not a tackle if you're playing 5 tech.
Right.
Another defensive tackle. Hey, that was the hardest guy I played against. You never played against. I mean, you played against him on the other side, but you never physically. You know what I'm saying? Like Preston, that's not a hard question, big dog. 2 + 2 = 4, bro. Like,
right? Come on, man.
You know what I mean? So, a lot of this stuff is to trick these guys, and the more prepared they are, the better. And the truth of the matter is, unfortunately, everyone's so excited to go in the draft, and man, this is gonna be the best thing ever. The process is meant for you to fail.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna be honest; it's set up that way. So as many roadblocks as you can hurdle, instead of getting ran over by, the better, right? First round picks are probably, I don't want to say on cruise control because they're never on cruise control, but look, the evaluation's there. Stay healthy, do what you got to do. I mean, you got guys that go in the first round that don't do a damn thing in the process. I don't even know what they're training. They don't even do anything at pro day besides catch footballs.
Right.
Well, what are you going to training for? You go to catch footballs and sit on your couch after 3 months. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So, but the real work is the late round guys that can rise, and the second, third round, top 100 guys that you need to cement, and not just cement, but rise. I tell guys all the time, look, if a team tells me your third round grade, you can look at me crazy, but it sounds like we have 90 picks to go. We got work. I'm not happy with that. So
Well, so lead in. That's kind of a good segue. Player gets his evaluation back, and I want you to kind of, we'll double back because I want you to explain to us the underclassmen evaluations that they're allowed to get from universities or NFL, the number that they're allowed to get, and basically tells them, hey, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to the draft. I'm just going to stay back. But we're going to get to that because I want you to explain that process.
Yeah.
But holistically now, the NIL deals that these players are receiving are making it kind of difficult to leave school because they're making a lot of money being college players. There was a rumor at one point that Cooper Flagg over at Duke was probably, it was a rumor, obviously, that he may stay in school and do another year at Duke because of how it was the money he was getting at NIL at Duke. The quarterback, go ahead. There's plenty of examples, right? There's plenty of examples. Go ahead.
3 more years. Why not?
Right. I might just stay.
You mean to tell me I walk out of college with $84 million?
Come on, man.
On marketing deals, non-taxed, that I can have an account, do my bookkeeping for, and I'm not gonna say you're break flat, but it's not like, when you get drafted the first pick, whatever the signing bonus is, call it $40 million. Preston, you take home 26. It's not $40 million.
Right.
Say I'm coming. So yeah, dude, don't get me wrong. That's easy for me to say, right?
So let me ask the official question, then give me the official answer.
Go ahead.
Are collegiate NIL deals making players think twice about entering professional drafts?
I work on football, so I can only speak on football.
Okay.
The easiest answer is yes.
Okay.
And I've done this before. I'll give you an example. I've had a kid who got his grade back. And along with my grades that I got from teams.
Okay.
I don't guess. I don't read PFF. I don't read Twitter. I don't read Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. Now, God bless those guys. They got a job to do too. But I don't base my opinion doesn't come from me, right, Preston? I can think of the best damn running back on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
If the 32 NFL teams don't tell me, you're probably not. Okay? I don't draft you. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So based on the I've done this in multiple players. I'm just going to use one. It's in this collective feedback that I got from, 32 teams. Obviously, his grade from the league that his staff submitted. He was in the 4th or the 5th round, right?
Yeah.
So they said, you know what, we'll do his signing bonus match, and we'll do, some extra on top if he stays. And for me, I'm like, yeah, you should stay.
Right.
You're a 4th or 5th round pick. There's no guarantee you make the roster. Let's be honest.
Right.
You make relatively the same money. You still develop. And by the way, this was a player who didn't have it all, right? Like, you knew there were some pieces of the pie that still need to be made, if you get what I'm saying, right? Like,
I got you.
I knew, and especially just not even made, but based on what I got from the league, it was more of he's a 4th, 5th round pick, but he's developmental. Like, we have to still develop him. And for me, I'm like, well, he's going back to school, right? And that was that, but that happens a lot. Now, some players are like, dude, no way I'm going back to school. Forget it. I can't deal with class. I want to be a pro.
Yeah.
I can't, my thing is, look, I gave you option A, I gave you option B, right?
Right.
I give you both the options, and I give you the pros and cons of each and the pros and cons of each, and I'm rocking with you either way. Well, make your decision. I mean, this is your world.
Make your decision.
Like, there's no, I tell players all the time, dude, this is your world, man. Like, I'm just here trying to guide you through the waters. That's all. So yeah, it definitely does.
All right. So now let's back up like I wanted to. Mm-hmm. And I would like you to explain the process. Explain the process, please, of underclassmen NFL draft grades. How does that happen? When does that happen? How many are allowed to happen?
So underclassmen draft grades are tricky, to be honest. Very tricky, actually. Because the thing is that, for example, this can go both ways, right?
Okay.
So one player may rush for 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm an agent who has, let's say the kid's at Florida, right? Okay. I know every Southeast scout on every team. I know every national scout on every team. I know every director of scouting on every team. I know every assistant GM and GM on every team. I know them all, right? Now, it's very easy to make calls to those people to see, hey, is this Preston Jackson kid who's a true junior who rushed for 1,520 touchdowns? We really like that. Is he, he's a 6th round pick, 7th round pick, 5th round pick. You'd be shocked. Sometimes I make calls. I'm like, huh? Really? Why? And then they explain it and it makes sense. And I've had the other way. I call some guys, in my eye, I'm like, he's good, but he's a 1st round pick. You're like, huh, really?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Cool.
I've seen it, bro.
I'll take it. But, if you take that out of the equation, if you have an agent that's actually able to get answers for you, which a lot of kids do, but the problem is a lot of kids listen to the bullshit. They listen to Preston Jackson, you're the best. Preston Jackson, you're the man.
Yeah.
Preston Jackson, you're the baddest running back on the planet, baby. You're the first running back off the board as a junior.
Yep.
And that's where I lose kids. We lose kids. Because we're the only group that'll say, Preston Jackson, you are a bad dude with the football.
Yeah.
But you're also a bad dude that'll get drafted in the 6th round.
Yeah.
So don't go. Well, what you mean, man? Man, you're trying me, man. I'm not trying you, bro. I'm not trying you. I can lay my head down at night knowing I shot you straight. And if you
Correct.
don't like it and you want to listen to that hoopla over that way, go ahead, bro. When you
Yep.
get drafted in the bottom 100 picks, you gonna call me? Bro, Preston, it happens every year. Oh, gee. You were right, bro. I should have. Yeah, I know I was right because I got the answers to the test. You just failed.
Already.
You
Right.
know, it's not that complicated. So, back to realistically your question. Some schools obviously submitted to the league. They give them back a grade. The issue with juniors is the truth of the matter is teams don't really evaluate juniors like that. Like unless you're like that.
Okay.
If you pop off as a junior and you didn't do nothing as a sophomore, dude, they're writing you up in like 15 minutes.
Oh.
Or, your grade is skewed. It's not like they've really scouted you, you know?
Correct. Right.
Because in their head, at the beginning of the season, when they really came through fall camp, you weren't coming out. You were nobody.
Right.
So they might have caught wind late, but you got to understand, when the scout has a big region of 100 schools or 50 schools, you can't keep it. Now, obviously, look, once again, I have had, like, for example, I had Israel Benaconda at Pitt. He was
Okay.
600-yard back. His plan was 2 years. Well, homeboy snapped. 1,600 yards, 28 touchdowns. Went crazy his junior year.
Crazy.
Ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous. Bonkers. I mean, he had like 500 yards one game and 6 touchdowns versus UT. Ridiculous.
Wow.
So, obviously at that time, I was working back channels. I'm like, look, evaluate this kid now. He's coming out. You sure? The school tells me no. I'm guaranteed he's coming out. Kid's coming out in the draft. Like, at running back, look, running back is a different story.
Okay.
It's positionally, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're hot at running back, you should come out. Because the chances, I hate to say it, but the chances of an injury as opposed to other positions and the wear and tear on all these different things,
It's a lot different.
sometimes you look at that and say, even though you might go in the 5th round, I would come out now. You're younger. Running backs don't last the longest. As a business, now, like I said, that's a whole different topic.
Okay.
But my point is, obviously, for Izzy, I was calling teams. Like, I haven't really watched this kid. I'm like, you haven't watched him. Leading the ACC. You're not watching? He just went for 500 yards last year. Yeah, I'm like, school tells me he's not coming out. I said, I'm his agent. I'm telling you, he's coming out. Go evaluate him. Okay, cool.
Right.
And then obviously by December, I had, the thing is, my grade said one thing, Pitt's grade said something else.
Correct.
So there's a business side of that too of, well, your agent's lying to you. Or, is it your agent or your head coach lying to you? Because look, Preston, I was going to get the kid whether he went back to senior year either or not, right? It
didn't matter to me. Right. It don't matter to you.
And we have, regards to money, phenomenal relationship. That's my guy.
Right.
Oh, you can buy the school champ. I'll sign you next year. Whatever. So it gets a little, like I said, that's why it gets tricky, is because coaches, their job is on the line. They have families to feed, mouths to feed.
Correct.
Preston Jackson, I'm your head coach, man. I recruited you, baby. I took care of you.
Yep.
I'm not
All
gonna
that.
lie to you. In the back of my head, I know I need my 1,600-yard rushing running back who scored 25 touchdowns. I probably need him for us to win 6 more games next year.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a business side of that. So the truth of the matter is, it's all relationship based. I had for a long time. I had him for a year plus by then, so it's not like I was some fly-by-night agent coming in and saying, "Hey, you got this and that, you should go out." No, by then you trusted me, right? So, yeah, dude, the junior stuff is tricky because sometimes you look back and you're like, "There's no crystal ball either," I mean, no crystal ball because these grades change.
Yeah.
You could crush it, like I just said, interviews, right? You could crush the Senior Bowl as a junior, crush the combine, and flunk interviews. 6th round.
How important is the Senior Bowl?
Man, I think Senior Bowl's massive.
Massive.
Senior Bowl East West. Shout out Eric Galco. all those games are big time because you got to think, right? There's not many times where these players, unless they're in, oh, not even that case. You got to think there's not many times these players really will have a full front office staff watching them, right? I mean, I think I've seen John Snyder, the GM of the Seahawks, talking about their first round pick, Gray Zabel. He was like, I think he's, don't quote me, but it was something along the lines of like, I never even saw that kid until the Senior Bowl. I didn't even know he was.
Okay.
And they took him in the first round, right? So,
wow.
NDSU center guard interior alignment, right? Now, don't get me wrong, that kid is a dog. That kid is awesome at football.
Yeah.
But my point is, when you ask me how important is Senior Bowl, that says enough, right?
So the word I got.
Let
me give you this. Let me give you this and see if this rings any truth. Mm-hmm. So the word I got from one of my insiders was that college scouting, NFL departments, college scouting, they dabble with the juniors if there's some good ones that starts to get some buzz, right? So they'll start kind of building information profiles. They'll start looking into them a little bit as they're juniors. Mm-hmm. But for real, their college scouting doesn't actually doesn't actually get started until almost after the college season ends, right? So before the championship game, they get started like December, January-ish. And that's when they got, say it again?
Talking about the juniors?
Yeah, on the seniors actually. No. So they're actually looking into them heavy after their so it's their junior year. They're looking into them heavy.
No, so here's the deal. Look, going into
all right, go ahead.
Junior year, right?
Yep.
You have all these reports that come out. It's NFS, it's Blesto. There are all these, they give these kids grades and
yep.
Look back every year. 50% of it is a miss, but it gives a baseline, right?
Okay.
It goes NFS, they recruit the incoming seniors and then select like sophomores turning juniors, right? Like, for example, your alma mater, Jeremiah Love, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Yeah, he's getting scouted, Preston. Okay.
Right.
He's going to be evaluated as a guy that's going to come out, right?
Yeah.
If the Ohio State kid, Smith, was a junior, he's going to get evaluated as coming out because he's a junior, right? So the truth of the matter is all these these teams are going to, NFS is going to grade them. They're going to have NFS meetings in Emory Island or something in Florida.
Okay.
Meet and talk about every player in the country about this report's going to come out. Boom.
Okay.
In the summer right now, the area scouts are getting ahead on their top guys in their region, right? So
okay.
Right now, I'm able to call some teams maybe and say, hey, I got this guy. What do you think? Or who are some guys you like? Just to get ahead, right? Get the answer to that.
Right.
And then throughout more or less like into fall camp, they'll start making their road trips. Like they're going to go to schools. They're going to see them at practice. They're going to, do all that deal. And then obviously they're going to go to games, stuff like that. Usually, like an incoming senior, the work's probably been pretty done midway through the season.
Okay.
Right? Quarter of the way through. Or like quarter of the way left, right? The work's probably pretty done, right?
Okay.
Now, obviously, that's like, once again, that's so preliminary, man. Like, we've had a guy with a 6-7 round grade in December going the first round.
Right.
Like, it happens, right? And we've also had guys that have high grades go lower. It's I guess you could say a process that is. It's one of those things where it's like until it's done, it's not done. Like until this thing is done, we are still working.
Still working. All right. Well, what about with all the NIL opportunities? Obviously, I wanted to hit you heavy with the NIL because you're obviously the director down there. When front offices are evaluating a player with a very substantial NIL portfolio, is that a red flag or green flag for NFL front offices? Do they want to deal with these guys who are extremely popular already in college and they're making a lot of money already in college, or is that like a red flag? We probably will stay away from these guys.
That's a great question. Number one, it probably depends on what he's endorsing.
Okay. Good answer.
Number two, it probably depends on the type of the company, right? So my point is, if you're doing 1,000,000 deals with random companies for $1,000, yeah, that's $1,000,000, and that kid probably should do those deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but my thing is like, it makes you. I think it can make players look a little distracted, right? Like
Yeah.
focused on something else, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, like I said, for the most part, like the big time players have the Monster Energy of the world. They have the Nikes. Like that's fine, right? That's no problem.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right.
But when you get into, doing some brand new sock company, or you get me, like I don't think it would look great. Now, the truth of the matter is these teams know these kids get paid for this stuff, so
Yeah.
I think it's something where they're like, this kid wants to be a damn influencer. Like we're not gonna draft this kid. They don't care that much. But
Right.
I always tell guys, it's like, dude, how you make yourself look is everything, right? So if you want to be a damn promotional billboard, you could do that. Or, I tell guys all the time, it's like, do we seek for the one $10,000 deal, or do we do 10 $1,000 deal? And every kid's like, well, let's just wait for the one $10,000 deal. I said, smart man, right?
All right.
So,
All right.
that's obviously like a small example, but I mean, I've done deals with everyone: Pepsi, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas. I mean, I've done it all, right? So I know I've done national TV campaigns. Like I know what those are like. There's a lot of
Yeah.
there's some serious money out there, right? So yeah, I don't really know if it really affects them that much, right? It just depends on the volume, I guess. And
All
obviously
right. So stay in that lane and
Mhm.
give me some free game. This is just everybody's listening. Just give me some free game. What's the best way about going about vetting potential deals?
It's a great
Especially with
question.
now high school NIL. You got, there people are getting deals tossed at them left and right. How do you go about vetting them?
We're talking marketing, correct?
Well, we're talking, should I get in bed with this business? Should I market this
Well, yeah,
business? Should I be yeah. So should I endorse this
NIL today
business?
can mean anything. You
True.
know,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Facts. Yes.
NIL deal could mean, University of Miami give me $1,000,000. That's an
Right.
NIL directly. But
Right.
okay, so on the marketing side, obviously it depends on what the brand is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, does it align organically? The truth of the matter, at least on my end, is I hate to say kids, my players that I deal with, they make a lot of money from
Mm-hmm.
their collectives, their NIL deals, their rev share deals, whatever it will be, right?
Yep.
Where, in a sense, it's like a luxury where if, John Doe Sock Company says, I got $1,500 for Romello Height, who's at Texas Tech, I'd be like, we're probably going to pass. But if you'd like to
Right.
give him 10K and some equity, then maybe we could talk. No, there's no way we could do that. Well, thank you for your time. And why I'm able to do that is because I know that he's already compensated enough from the school, right? So
Mm.
when you talk about high school, that's a different story, dude. These kids aren't
Yeah.
making money.
Right.
So at that point, if you got someone that's going to give you some money, you should probably look into it, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
make sure the contract is legitimate. Obviously, if you have a lawyer, you should have them review that. Don't just sign your life away because there's, image rights. There's all kinds of stuff in these deals that, let's just say little Timmy, who was in high school at Jesuit, goes and becomes the next Jeremiah Smith. Well, if this company had image rights, well, they could still say you are worth this brand when you're
Right.
now a national superstar.
Right.
So I think
Okay.
that the real catch is getting in early with these kids. That's what I pitch a lot on the marketing side, is like, because I know, at least in my guys, I know pretty much, I don't have a crystal ball, but I have a good feeling as to where they'll get drafted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me to tell a company, hey, look, if we do a 10-month deal at 50K, that might, or let's do we're in June, right? Let's do a
Right.
6-month deal until December. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do it at X. Once he finishes the season, I know he'll be a top 50 pick. So we can re-up and do another 4-month deal, 5-month deal into
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
draft. So now you can work with him as a draft prospect. And then when he gets drafted top 50 pick, now we got to renegotiate again. So now, if you want him, you can have him as a pro as well. You had him in college, you had him in the draft process, and you had him as a pro. 3 different deals, 3 different price tags, and the relationship built throughout, right? And marketing is relationships, man. Like, it's funny that this is something that I tell parents, and the light cuts on. I say, Preston, you are the CMO of Pepsi, okay? And you had $100,000, and this your job was on the line, okay? You had $100,000 to give to one athlete on the planet that will move the needle and save your job.
Right.
Save you putting food on your family's table. Save everything you've built in your career without getting fired. Are you going to give it to your son? Some parents are like, yeah, of course. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to give it to Tom Brady. You're going to give it to Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Judge, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You're going to,
Right.
So that's why, you got to really make it make sense to these parents, because they think, oh, man, my kid's going to FIU. He's in Miami. He'll get a bunch of marketing deals. No.
It don't work like that.
Not how it works. Someone was just talking about the Jeremiah Smith kid, a parent, because they have a son that goes to that high school.
Okay.
He said, Jeremiah Smith is crushing.
Yeah.
Get the kid.
Yeah.
Best receiver we've probably seen in, I don't know, a long time, right?
Long time. Let's just put it that way. Yep.
That kid would have been but Manning Manny would have been a first-round pick as a freshman last year, right?
In any generation, he would have been a first-round pick. It doesn't even matter.
Right. And they're like, oh, man, he's getting all these deals. I'm like, he's getting the deal. Number one, he's the number 1 player in the country. So he would have got deals anyway.
Right.
Why is he catching it now? Because he's the number 1, not high school kid, number 1 football player in college. Of course he cashes in deals. If he's not, and he's the 5th string receiver at Ohio State, even at Ohio State, you might get a few deals here and there because the local companies want to be involved in the team, and you might collect a few checks. I'm not talking anything big, but so I explained that. I'm like, look, he earned it, right? That's a whole different situation, right? So I think that, you mentioned high school. Look, if you can build your brand, I think it's great. Because, if you're a local kid, your local will always be a tie to you. You're always a part of the community, right? So it's not like, even if you go to a different school, in college, different market, look, you're still a part of that demographic. So, there's value there.
I want to end with some NFL draft process stuff. Because a lot of times when I reach out to you, like, yo, I'm in Indy and I'm preparing my guys. We're in the hotel lobby. These guys are getting warmed, whatever the case may be. We have our conversations. But a lot of these kids, which is good for them, they want to be NFL players.
Of course.
They see that point. They don't understand the business between when it's coming from college and going to the NFL. They don't understand the business about it. They don't understand what draft prep looks like, right? So I want you to end us with, take me down maybe a timeline of the end of their college career through draft prep. All right, your job and maybe your player's job, and then blend in a few good stories. Maybe some that were really good that ended up well, or maybe some where, this kid did not do his part with draft prep and he was just a knucklehead and did not end well. Right. Just give me kind of like that. Let's start with the timeline first.
Yeah, so timeline kind of goes as following, right? I can have a kid for NIL. It's not make me his agent. It makes me his NIL, right?
Yep.
Now, obviously, a lot of those kids in that case, they know I'm going with Shawn when my when my eligibility expires or when I declare. Okay.
Yep.
So, kids can tell you, or players can tell you, hey, I'm going with you. Hey, I'm signing with you. I will tell you as an agent, that doesn't mean a damn thing until that paper is signed. Okay.
Yeah.
I have been on the opposite end, and I have been on the end of, hey, I changed my mind. I want to go with you. Or, hey, I changed my mind. I'm going with Jerry Maguire. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on a plane to see you before you make a decision, but okay, sure. Um, so they can obviously tell you, like I've had players tell me in July, I'm shutting it down. As long as you and I keep a relationship, I'm going with you. Like I don't even care that much about defending these agents. I trust you. You have a good rapport. Your history is good. And I like you as a person, right? Okay,
Right.
cool. Now I've had guys take me all the way down to the wire, right? I'm gonna play the national
Ugh.
championship, man. I'll tell you after. It's like, oh my god, right? National championship
Ugh.
in January, man. I got kids training December 2nd. So
Right.
I have some kids, like you gotta think on my end, for the most part, right? FCS kids, their season ends a little early, so you can sign those kids early, right? Well,
Yeah.
us, we don't wait on kids. We don't like all the agencies will say, okay, January 1st, you go to training, just hang out. For me, us, yeah, if it's November 12th and your season's over, and you want to go training November 13th, we'll pay for it. I don't
Right.
care, because that's gonna get you more prepared. So for a kid like that, he goes to training and gets ready, right?
Right.
But in a normal cycle, right? I'm saying all these outliers. In a normal cycle, right? You probably sign a kid somewhere around end of bowl season. That's if they don't opt out, right? So some kids, if they opt out, you sign them early December. Sign them early December. For the right kids, they want to say, yo, I want to go training like ASAP. Will you pay for it? And I'm like, yes, of course. Obviously, when they first get there, it's a lot of medical assessments, right? Because
Yeah.
dudes have no clue how banged up they are. They feel like,
Yeah.
let's be honest, Preston, I was a product of this too. Took a few ibuprofens and maybe a Toradol shot, and I felt like $1,000,000 on the field. They have no clue that when they do a full med eval that they have 50 things wrong with them, right?
Oh man.
So not 50, right? It's a lot. But my point is like, things come up, right?
Yeah.
That you have no clue. Or I've had guys that they've had partially torn labrums and they're like, my shoulder's fine. I'm like, it's not fine. This scan here does not say it's fine. Now we'll go get another one and another one to make sure, but the early portion is probably very medical based. It's just getting their feet into them, getting them back to life, right? Like a lot of guys, when they start training, like, man, it's the best I've ever felt. I'm like, duh. No shit. You're not hitting each other anymore.
Correct.
Then at least on our end, there's senior bowls come first. So whether it's Reese's or East West. Now these guys are going to go to a facility. They're going to train speed, strength, positional, whatever. At least on our end, we try to make this thing about like a process, right? Because of course the Underwear Olympics in India are important, right? Everyone's going to run, jump, do all that. At the end of the day, Preston, you have to be a football player. Okay.
There you go.
You have to be damn good on the grass. So, unfortunately, a lot of agents lose sight of that. And they just drop them off at whatever facility and say, hey, Preston Jackson, good luck. We'll see you at Senior Bowl.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got it. Facility's got you. They'll check in and, do their whole shaking hands, kissing babies thing, of course.
Yeah.
But for us, my thing is if Senior Bowl's first, well, we need to be very heavy on the football, right? Like we need as much positional work as possible.
Okay.
For example, I'll give you an example, right? We've had a pretty good run of D linemen in the last few years, right?
Okay.
One this year, his name's Cam Jackson.
Okay.
We sent him to a facility, X3, in Fort Myers, right?
Okay.
The truth be told, the main reason we sent him there probably was because of a coach. His name's Javon Gopi. His name's Saxon on Instagram, right? I told you the key is giving you the answers to the tests, correct? So Cam had Senior Bowl. So we had obviously more sessions, amplified sessions with Sac before Reese's instead of focusing on running, jumping. Now, obviously, look, that can become almost secondary. We got to focus on you, hand, strike, feet. You get me? Like, we got to focus on the positional stuff, right? Because if you go to Reese's flop, forget it. I don't care if you're on a 4-2 in Indy. You're fried. And you would be surprised how many times we get to Reese's and you see an all-American type player look like he's never played football. It's
really?
Yeah, they just don't. They've been so trained to just oh my God, I gotta run this 40. Bro, relax. Okay, like, so obviously like, what I'm trying to say is we kind of modify it to where the focus is football. Obviously, you got to get ready for the combine as well. So there goes that, right? And then obviously
Okay.
after Senior Bowl, you got to think your football playing is done. Your competition is done, right? Now you got to, you're doing bag drills on air and change of direction and running a 40 and jumping. Well,
Yep.
I'll give you an example. Cam Jackson. Guess the person running the defensive line drills at the combine is who?
Usually defense a lot. Right.
Saxon, his defensive line coach for pre-draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the guy at the combine said, he knows the drills. He knows
Right.
what to do. He knows how to make you look good.
Yep.
He knows what you should expect.
Yep.
If you mess up a drill from the guy that coached you for 8, 12, 14 weeks at the combine, when he knew what you were going to do,
that's a problem.
Come on, big dog. Right? So
that's a problem.
When teams say, man, Cam Jackson looked phenomenal, man. Looks great.
He better had.
Yeah, our head is like, no, it's phenomenal. But that's just like a small example. Like, you got to use this process as an advantage, and a lot of people don't take it like that. They just, everything will be all right. No, dude. You have to strike, at every opportunity you got to strike, So, and then obviously the combine. Then these guys will take some top 30 visits where teams will fly them out and, spend some time with them, sit down, interview, do some board work, meet the gym, meet the owner, once again, shaking hands, kissing babies portion of it. And, maybe private workouts in there. Some guys private workouts with, the position coaches get a closer look. And it's draft. Draft is in April, right? But, I know I just squeezed like a 12, 14, 16-week process in not that much time, but what I will tell you is, it goes fast. It's. I remember last year it was like, holy shit, combines in 2 weeks. Whoa.
Yo, let me ask you this and see. Let me see if you can speak on this.
Yeah.
And I know we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, but we're gonna say player A because I know you don't want to say his name. But Mel Kiper goes bananas during the broadcast about Shedeur not getting selected where Mel thought that he had been selected, right? What's your reaction watching Mel have a complete meltdown on camera?
Ooh, look, I'll say this. Mel has been employed for a long time doing what he loves to do. So credit to him there.
Yeah.
Being an agent for many years, I still to this day don't know where Mel Kiper gets his information from. I don't really care. Okay. I say that respectfully, right?
Yeah, of course.
Just the truth of the matter is it doesn't matter because if Mel Kiper was what he thinks he is, then the team would have him as their general manager.
Mm-hmm.
He would be able to make those decisions. Now, whether he's right or wrong, who knows? I don't know. And once again, I don't really care. I have seen Mel be very right. I've seen Mel be very wrong. Like, okay, I'll give you a personal example.
Yeah.
The player I was talking about, Alex Austin, right?
Yeah.
You can go back and look. His last copy of his top 10 at every position before the draft had Alex Austin at like 8 or 9, 9th corner, 10th corner, maybe. All right. Now, I have been trained to know, do not use that as a form of validation because we're guessing. He's guessing.
Right.
So I didn't take it. I took it with the smallest grain of salt, right? But in the back of your head, you're like, well, 9th corner, that's probably like 3rd round pick. All right, sweet, nice.
All right.
Long story short, Alex Austin was the 20 or 38th corner drafted. 38th.
Whoa.
38th.
What round did that put him in? 6th?
7. He was the last one took. 7th round. He was the last corner took. So Mel Kiper ran him, what, like 8? Yeah, he's 30 spots off. Right. So, now long story short, like I said, if you fast forward, I've had plenty of players drafted before Alex. Alex is the best career out of any client I have right now.
Yeah.
He's crushing it. This guy is going to make a lot of money. Next spring, if he does what he needs to do. So, This business is weird how it works, man. It's not about how you start. I tell guys all the time, like, whether you go 7-1 undrafted, dude, it is not about where you start. Now, obviously, there's always politics involved based on where you draft, and we're not oblivious to that. But at the end of the day, dude, players make plays. If you make the play,
That's it.
and you show up and be a good dude, the biggest learning curve for these guys is to understand that for the first time in their life, they're employees.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately. You're not just a football player. You're an employee. You are employed by the football team.
Mm-hmm.
You have a boss. Like,
right.
And he can cut the faucet off at any time. So, I tell my guys, it's like, man, be sharp. Be an athlete. Like, be someone that's bigger than football, right? Because the truth of the matter is, it makes guys like that who are less talented, they last longer, man.
Right.
Like, we've all seen it.
Yep.
Guys with an ounce of the talent that some guys have, but those guys last 10 years where they don't get a second contract. Now, maybe the 10 years is a string of 1-year deals. Who cares, though, bro? Like, 10 years? Talk about pension and benefits. And
I'm in there. I'll do it. Sign me up.
Sheesh. Like,
sheesh.
Yeah. Like, I had a conversation with one of my guys. It's like, really, it's like his 3rd year, right? And he's like, really taking pride in, special teams. I'm like, yeah, dog, it only took you 3 years.
Right.
3 years
Figure it out.
You 3 years
Come on, man.
Like, we got to get going.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, I mean, this business it's complicated, but it's not that complicated if it makes sense, right? It's not that everyone can do it. No, that's what makes NIL difficult, because any John Doe or Jim Bob can be an NIL agent, but they don't have any connections. I mean, Preston, I can call any school on the planet in 2 seconds.
Right.
Hey, I got this Preston Jackson guy. 5-star, 4-star, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
Well, Shawn, this is a enlightening conversation, man. I'm excited to drop this one. Some good information I hope people can grab a hold of.
Sure.
And we'll definitely have you back on the show, my man. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're doing well and being an asset to the show for sure.
No doubt, bro. Appreciate you having me on. Obviously, it's the least I can do, man. You helped me when I was a little dude. So
that's all right. Hey, it's about relationships, right?
Of course, it's all about relationships.
There we go.
Platform, back then, and that's something. Man, I'm forever grateful for. So
my man.
Obviously, this was great, bro. Kind of in a weird way, full circle.
We'll see you on the next one.
Sounds good, brother.